Hello everybody and welcome back to another new video on the channel. Today we're talking about the new DLC for Spider-Man PS4, which is Turf Wars. I don't want to take too much of your time, so I'm going to go ahead and start the video and say that if you want to know my opinions about the first DLC or the first part of the three-part series of DLC that comes out monthly on a basis of the City That Never Sleeps DLC pack, and there's a card on the screen that you should probably see right about now that will lead you to my last video that covers the heist DLC for the City That Never Sleeps. And if you want to know my opinions about it, just go check that video and then you can come back after you finished it, or if you've already seen it, then just continue watching. But today we're talking about Turf Wars, and on a story perspective, now that I've thought about it and I've heard a couple people talk about it, there's little aspects that they could have done, but they didn't do. Now, Hammerhead is the main focus, or rather, the main bad guy of the DLC, right? So you naturally would expect that because he is the main bad guy, that they would try to focus and do more, development with his character, or just explain his backstory. Kind of like how they did with Yuri Watanabe, who's also a big focus in this DLC, but for some reason, Insomniac didn't show too much of Hammerhead. He was there in the beginning, and then he shows up in a boss fight at the end of the game, and that's kind of it. He doesn't really do much besides kidnapped the Magia gang, like Dons, and has a couple of character moments with Yuri, and obviously there's the boss fight at the end of the DLC, but other than that, that's kind of it. And spoilers if you haven't played the DLC already, and just spoiler warning in general if you haven't finished it as well. Yuri actually shoots Hammerhead, and I assume it was his face, not where his steel metal plate is on where his forehead. And no, I guess that's not it. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that she still shot him in the face, but he dies. He dies at the end of the DLC, but spoilers again. He actually comes back to life because one of his goons disguised himself as a medic in one of the ambulances, and he brings Hammerhead back to life. So my guess is that Hammerhead isn't over with, obviously, because they brought him back to life at the end of the DLC. And I think he's going to have more of a focus in Silver Lining with whoever else is going to possibly be showing up. Maybe Silver Sable, which would make a lot of sense considering Hammerhead's goons have been using a lot of the Sable International's, weaponry. Because also in the boss fight, Hammerhead has a full Sable International armor set on him, and Spider-Man obviously have to fight against them with that on. So I wouldn't be surprised if Silver Sable comes back and is doing some sort of interaction with Hammerhead. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit more character backstory with Hammerhead, stuff that has happened to him before in the past, because he was supposed to be the focus of Turf Wars, or that's at least what most of us probably assumed. But other than that, it was just kind of, he was just there. He was just there kind of for the boss fight, and he didn't really do much. Yuri Watanabe, though, I think she was really good in this DLC. She has a personal connection towards Hammerhead and the Magia crime syndicate families, and we learned that through the various other side activities outside of Screwball, of course, that she has actually been going after Hammerhead and the Magia crime syndicate families for an extremely long time now, and we assume that she's been doing that since before her and Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, even started working together. Obviously, she doesn't know Spider-Man is Peter Parker, but she's been doing that since before they started working together. And not only did we learn that about her, but we also learned more backstory with her and her family. Her father used to be a crooked cop, and then he was sentenced to jail time for doing some shady stuff with the Magia gang. And that had a personal toll on her, I guess. But she has a personal connection towards the Magia crime syndicate families and Hammerhead, so that's why she's kind of one of the main focuses of the DLC. Excuse me, and I think she was done really well. I like learning more about Yuri, because I feel like there's still a lot more that we can learn about her character, and I wouldn't be surprised if Insomniac decided to do that for the next game, for whenever they do release it. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. But for whatever information we do get from this DLC, I'm glad we got it, and I'm glad to know a little bit more about her character. And the voice actress for Yuri, I think she did really well. I think she did, like, I was gonna say infinitely better, but she did like way better than she did in the vanilla game. And I'm not saying she was bad in the vanilla game whatsoever. I love this. I love this game to pieces. I think this game is one of the best games of all of this year. It could easily be game of the year if it wasn't for its competition being God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. But I don't know. I feel like there was a little bit more that Yuri could have done besides just be a catalyst for, you know, her being a part of the police force and her working with Spider-Man and the police force not really knowing that. I feel like there could have been more to her in the vanilla game, but for whatever we did get with her, she did have a lot of character interaction with Spider-Man, which was, you know, it was either really funny or just done really, really well, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. But in this DLC, she really shines on her own. I think she did a really good job. But in terms of gameplay, we get a couple new enemies. Like I said earlier, we get a couple of new like outposts, like for Hammerhead's like goons. They're like in separate parts of like the upper map. They're actually kind of challenging. I actually had a lot of difficulties doing some of this stuff. I think I actually have some gameplay of me doing one of the warehouses for Hammerhead's goons, and I actually almost die a couple of times. So these guys are actually surprisingly like really difficult, or at least they were difficult for me, and I was playing on ultimate difficulty, so maybe that's the reason why. But on ultimate difficulty, they almost killed me in like tons of times, and I got really scared. But overall, you know, gameplay is how you expect it. It's there's a couple other like side activities and like just normal crime in the DLC, and some of it's new. Some of it is interesting, but overall, it's just, you know, crime side activities that you need to do. Screwball, you know, she's there again, and we almost capture her in Turf Wars, but I guess they're going to be saving that for whenever Silver Lining comes out, which isn't really that surprising. I'm not really all that surprised that they're probably going to save her for Silver Lining. And I want to get this straight, like in my opinion about her, because I was kind of complaining about her in my stream. Link in the description if you want to check out my stream for whenever I do stream, of course. But I like the fact that she's a parody on like YouTubers and like social media and like stars, I guess like you call them, like nowadays. I like that she's a parody, but holy crap, she's annoying, and sometimes I can't handle it. Sometimes she's just really goddamn annoying, and I wish they kind of tone it down a little bit, but at the same time, it fits her character, so it's not all that bad. But still, I feel like having her back, it's just I feel like I'm already done with her, you know? I feel like she should have already been gone. You know, we already dealt with her in the vanilla game, but then she comes back in DLC, so regardless, it's whatever. Overall, the DLC, it has its problems, and but most of the time, in terms of gameplay and other activities that you do, it's really good. And the suits I absolutely love. I love all the suits in this DLC. For some reason, Spider Armor Mark 1 is like my favorite. I'm not saying like the other ones are like really bad or anything, but for some reason I just have like this weird soft spot for Mark 1. I don't know if it's because like I first saw it in the 90s cartoon for Spider-Man, and I kind of just grown attached to it, or if it's for some reason like the way it's designed in this game, like the padding of like the metal plates on the suit, or like just the padding overall on like the parts that doesn't have like the metal plating on it. Of course, we do also have the OG Spider Armor, the OG one, and it looks really good. It looks really good. I really like the OG Spider Armor. And Insomniac did a really good job making it like the way it does. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. But I think, along with a lot of other people, I'm in the same boat as, yeah, they probably could have chose a different suit instead of the OG Spider Armor, because we already did have the one for the MCU, which it kind of seems like this one's really pointless to have in the DLC. But I'm still kind of glad they added it anyways, because the way that it does look, you know, it's kind of worth it in the end. And then of course they do like the whole Spider Clan like animated cell shaded outfit, which looks really good. It's kind of like the vintage comic book suit, but it's still Peter Parker, and he's like scrawny, he's like skinnier, he's smaller. A lot of people might not like the suit because like the way that the head shape is like kind of like, but I think it just makes it more unique, and it's not that bad. It's not really all too noticeable, and you're not really paying attention to that all too much. At least in my opinion, I wasn't. But I still really like the suit regardless, so screw you if you disagree with me. But the suits are good. The story was okay. I feel like they could have, brought Hammerhead a little bit more into the DLC and then done a little bit more with him. But it's whatever. Yuri was really good in the DLC as well. I'm interested to see what's going to be happening with her in Silver Lining. And also, we should probably see what happened to Black Cat in Silver Lining. Or for some reason, they're saving that for the next game. They could do that too. But anyways, I think I captured enough of your time already. I've been recording for about like 11 minutes already. I didn't want this to be too long, but I guess I just kind of rambled on for a lot longer than I anticipated. But let me know your thoughts in the comments of what you thought about the DLC, and let me know if you like this, if you like that. Let me know your full thoughts. I'm really interested of what you have to say about the DLC down in the comments. Go check out my last video that I did for the first part of City Never Sleeps with the heist, and just be sure to go check out my other videos in general if that interests you. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Peace.